Hi, Jaya.
Hi, Aisha.
Okay, so you are the second member of this series, and I think it will be wonderful to know your journey, how you landed into a really well known group in physics education research, which is my field of study as well in America. So, you are hailed from India, and which part of India, and how was your journey when you were in school?
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank you for calling me here so that I can share my journey. And yeah, so currently I'm a grad student in University of Pittsburgh, and I have joined a research group under Dr. Chandralekha Singh. So I have just finished my first year, and I will start my research from the upcoming fall. When I was a kid, if you ask like what are your hobbies, I would say I used to like do sketching, painting, drawing, etc. There was also one funny habit which I had. If I ever see chalk and board, I can never resist myself. I can now feel that there was something in me which is now going to help me to become a teacher. So I also used to assume students around me. So whenever I had to study something, instead of reading the book by itself, I always used to assume that there are students around me, and then I teach them
Okay.
so that I understand better. So sometimes I used to think that I'm the best teacher for me.
As a
It's
kid,
funny, but
as a kid,
as as a kid, then
okay.
that thing continued. So even today, if I feel that there is something which I'm not able to understand, and I'm just reading the book and I'm just trying to understand, the better way is to stop reading it, grab the book, and assume there are students, and then start teaching them, and then everything will be clear.
Yeah, that's
So
true. The best way to learn is to teach the concepts. You're correct.
yeah.
Okay, so have you taught a lot after your school, like during your science journey?
Uh, so when I was doing my bachelor's
Mhm.
in Delhi University, uh,
Sorry.
so
So can you tell viewers bachelor's in what and then master's in
okay,
what?
yeah. So I joined BSc Physics Honors in University of Delhi, SGTB Khalsa College. Uh, so there, it was a journey of studying physics. So physics honors is something where you only study about physics. It's like you study the core physics, natural science. So I got exposure to learn all kind of uh, areas of physics.
Yeah, like
So
quantum, electronics, mechanical.
yeah,
Okay.
quantum statistics, thermodynamics, everything.
Okay.
And whenever I used to get chance, I always used to teach my classmates. So that was the thing. I was not teaching officially, but yes, I
Yeah.
never left the opportunity of discussing with my friends. Oh, sorry, I joined MSc Physics in IIT Roorkee,
Hmm.
and there also I used to continue the same thing. But then I also got a chance to join Sopan group. So there was a social service group where there was a village nearby, Belrada. So spend my weekends discussing, and I would say instead of teaching, I was actually learning from those for coaching, but it was not a coaching, it was a free
Coaching.
tutoring
Yeah.
session.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they used to sit there, and whatever topic we can teach, either maths or science. So
Yeah.
we just used to pick one topic and we used to discuss with them. And sometimes they also used to make different models of science, and then there were some events where they had to present those models.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
all
So,
those things we used to.
did school kids enjoy your sessions because they were not necessarily very traditional classroom coaching kind of things, but a little, how the things that they are learning relevant to their life and those kind of um, that kind of way of teaching.
Yeah, I would say they were more excited to join it
Ah,
because there was a small temple in the village, and students used to gather in the morning in that temple to study. And there were always some group of students from IIT who used to go to the temple and teach those students.
Wow.
So they were ready in the morning. It shows that they were excited, enthusiastic. So yeah, I would say like I learned more when I was teaching them because it was really an exciting thing.
Nice. So generally, whoever is in STEM and who end up in IIT, we have heard that it's always through the engineering background. So how did you get interested into core sciences? Why did you choose bachelor's and master's in physics? I mean, in your school, what got you into the pure sciences?
So my story is very funny because it was not like usually these days students have always have aim from grade 9, 10 that they have to join IIT, they have to do BTech and all those things. I belong to a small town where I never had that exposure of joining any coaching institute
Mhm.
for IIT preparation. And also these days it is easier because everything is available on YouTube and you can just join any course. But before COVID and before the internet was not so much accessible to everyone, it was not so common. So either you go, like from my hometown, everyone used to go to Kota and then join the coaching to prepare. And I was not at all ready for that because there were financial constraints as well. And even in my school, it was like, okay, you must study grade 11, 12, and then go for higher studies. So that was the trend I was following. And my aim, the only aim left for me was to do good in grade 12 and get good scores. And so if you want to get admission in Delhi University, you should get good scores in
Really good
12th.
score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, although it has changed now, like there is a different exam for that, but during my time it was like that. So I only knew that there is a, a degree of PSC which is given in Delhi University. Like it is provided by Delhi University and it's a good university.
Yeah.
But it was in Delhi, which was again a big thing for me
Yeah.
because it was
Were
again
your
not so
parents
common.
were your parents happy to send you to Delhi?
Yeah, eventually they were. And also,
Okay.
I mean, when I got admission, at first there was a question, should we send? And you don't see everyone going to Delhi
Huh.
around you.
Hmm.
So that was a thing to be discussed. So that was the only thing in my mind. And another interesting thing happened with me was I filled the form for IIT entrance exam
Hmm.
for BTech, but I actually missed the exam. So I was highly dependent on others because I was not having access to internet. I know it sounds
Hmm.
weird, but yeah. So till
Is that
12th,
the reason you missed the exam?
so the reason was that I was dependent on others. So I thought, okay, my friends will just give me the admit card and I will just go with them for the exam. When I
Okay.
reached the center, I found that my exam was one day before. So when I reached, I was already late. I would have given the exam, I would have got some scores, and then the social pressure of joining BTech would have been there. But I could say that I missed the exam. I don't have any other option. So yeah, I'm
Why
happy.
you think it is better for you compared to engineering?
So I never thought of going into like a industry kind of job or like working
Mm-hmm.
in corporate world, etc. So I only knew that if you want to become a professor, do BSc, do MSc, do PhD, and then you will become a professor. This is what I knew as a grade 12 student. So I was sure that okay, so this is the journey that I have to follow. If I do BSc and then go for masters, then I will have the path for becoming a professor.
So
And
you always had this vision that you want to be in academia and teach.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Hmm.
I was not sure about how it happens or what all things I'm supposed to do, but I knew that this is what I should be following to reach that
Because yeah,
destination.
even after PhD you can go into industry and even after engineering you can teach. So that has changed today But okay, that was
Yeah.
that is the reason why you followed this path. So generally, we know the degree, which is BSc, which is Bachelor's of Science, but you did Bachelor's of Science honors. So what does, like, how long that degree is, and what was that extra part of honors?
So BSc Physics honors, which I did was also 3 years, as we usually have the general BSc. The only difference was when you study in general BSc, you study physics, chemistry, maths, or any of the three subjects. But I was doing physics honors, so I was only studying physics. I had an option of choosing electives as chemistry or maths, so I chose maths. So I did not study chemistry during my bachelor's.
Okay.
That was the one difference. And another thing was it was more for
Generally, whoever likes physics don't like chemistry. So was that the case with you too?
I think we realized that after joining one chemistry class, and then we had to run away from that class because we were not able to understand anything, and we preferred math over chemistry as an elective. So yeah, although I don't hate chemistry, but yeah, once you enter into one field, you start losing
Interest in
like
others.
you
Yes.
won't know everything about other fields. So yeah, you will have to leave something. There was an option of taking a dissertation in the final year, but that was just an option. Either you take an elective course or take the dissertation. So I actually took one course of astronomy. So it was Introduction to Astronomy, which was being offered in the final year. So instead of dissertation, I prefer to take that, which gave me exposure to know more about astrophysics and different concepts of it. So
Okay.
that was one thing I did.
Hmm.
And
Masters.
yeah, so also after finishing my bachelor's, there was like a period of 2 months where I joined a boot camp in Nehru Planetarium, Delhi. So because I studied astrophysics in the final year, it helped me to grow interest in astrophysics. So I thought of joining the boot camp to learn more about astrophysics. So after finishing the boot camp, it was time to join the college as I got admission in IIT Roorkee. So I joined there as a physics MSc physics student, and yeah, so there was a group of students for astrophysics or those who are interested in astronomy. They used to take telescope and do the stargazing and all. So I also joined that group so that I can learn more about astrophysics and astronomy. Yeah, so I thought like I'm interested in doing research in astrophysics, so I was trying to look for that option for my
Master.
MSc dissertation. Yeah, but there were not many faculties working exactly in astrophysics, so I chose a faculty who works in atomic physics and also takes uh, some of the parts of astronomy. So I decided to work in that area for my dissertation.
Okay, this is like
Uh,
really, really contrasting things, astrophysics and atomic physics. So how were they related? Like, how did you find the relation between
yeah, so it was like looking at the applications of atomic physics in astronomy. So when we look at stars, sun, and we see different colors, if we look at the spectrum of those things, we can actually relate astrophysics with atomic physics, because
them?
if you have to observe different elements in different types of stars, you will have to look at the spectrum which comes to the atomic physics. So for example, there is 21 centimeter line, if you have ever heard about. So it means the space consists of hydrogen atoms. So when we study about different elements, we know that there different atoms and elements, we know that there is hydrogen atom and hydrogen ion present in the universe, in the space, and in the galaxy. So how do we get to know that it is present there?
Okay.
So in order to observe that, there are different kinds of radiations which are released when electron in the atom jumps to different energy levels. So when electron takes the transition, the radiation is released, and those radiations can be observed depending upon in which spectrum does it lie. So it can be in the radio. You can either study about radio astronomy and look at into that particular spectrum, or you can also look into optical spectrum. So depending upon those radiations, you can predict which atom is present there or which element is present. You can also look for different molecules.
Wow.
So all those things we know through it.
That's quite interesting. So that's what your master's thesis was on.
So I was working on finding the transition between the atoms. So I was calculating the amplitude of those transitions when the electrons jump to different energy levels. So my work was to calculate those amplitudes, but that was the main thing. Like, why are we calculating those, and what is the application of calculation of those amplitudes? And even if you have seen auroras, which are like people have so I was very interested to when I got to know that those auroras also take place for the same reason, because the transitions takes place in oxygen ions. So all these things are again interesting,
Yeah,
that
so
whatever around is due to those small atoms.
let's plug this in. Physics is beautiful. Go watch Aurora.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful. Yeah, so after your masters, what was your journey like? What did you do, and why did you think of doing a PhD?
While I was doing my master's dissertation, as I mentioned, it was a period of uh, COVID, when everyone was like working from home, going back from the college. So during that time, I joined Vigyan Vidushi program, which was a small summer school. So due to lockdown, it just happened online. So I got a chance to join that instead of going there. So we were again learning different physics concepts. There were different lectures, and then there was one lecture on physics education research, and I got chance to know about this field. So I, I I decided to take a pause and think about it. So usually what happens is when we hear something new, we usually get excited and decide that, okay, I should be doing this. So I thought maybe this is that thing that I just saw about this field and feel like, okay, I want to go into that field. But they were discussing about the things like, how do students face difficulty about learning a particular concept, and uh, what procedure can be used to make it easier, all those things. And then I started thinking that I'm actually interested in doing all those things. So if I want to teach, this is what I eventually want to do.
Yeah.
So if I have to do PhD, why not I choose this?
Mhm.
So this made me to think about joining PER. And then I actually returned home and was working from home. Like, I was doing everything from home for my dissertation as well. So when you are not in the campus, you are not around people.
Yeah.
Instead, you are at home. You always like it feels different, and sometimes you start feeling low, start questioning, are you on the right track, all those things. So I also started experiencing that am I sure I want to do PhD, am I sure I want to enter into core physics and uh, do all those things. And then I started questioning myself, and then I also thought that when I was so sure about doing PhD, why am I thinking like that I should not be doing it? So I think there was a pause required. So I stayed at home, started looking for different PhD positions, and then I thought that I should actually look for PER, because this will be right fit for me. And during that procedure, I got a chance to apply for an OCP faculty position at Orchids International School, Bangalore. So it has different branches, and then one of the branch was in Bangalore. So I thought I should try that till
Okay.
I will start looking for I will continue looking for those PhD positions. And I never had a plan of doing job after finishing my master's, but yeah, I eventually joined that. And I would say that was the best moment because it was like my dream came true. I was holding chalk,
Teaching
there was
people,
board, there were
teaching
students.
hundreds of students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I don't want anything more than this now. Like I wanted
Did
to.
you teach high school students or middle school students?
So I was teaching from grade 6 to 10.
Okay.
For I was teaching maths as well as science, so I was teaching both. Um, so that period was, I would say, the best
How
period of
long
my
was
life.
how long was that period?
Uh, I taught for 8 months.
Okay.
It was not even a year, but yeah, those
So
eight
you
months were.
so by then you had applied for PhD schools, and till the results came, you were teaching here.
Yeah, I was teaching as well as even I got when I got acceptance, because there were different procedures of applying for visa and all those things. I continued teaching,
Okay.
and just before I had to leave for the PhD, like when I had to go for USA, I decided to leave my job. So I was teaching till that time.
Okay, that's wonderful. So you utilize the time in between. And that shows, I think this journey really shows clarity of your thoughts. Now when you landed in USA, so one thing I forgot asking before, uh, in your journey, I think your parents were supportive, but at school level and with your colleagues in masters and bachelors, could you find a lot of people first in school who were interested in physics, and later in college, did you find colleagues who were like planning a career in physics, so that you can exchange ideas? And did you feel lonely in this journey, or you had a lot of people who were doing similar things?
If I discuss about my school friends, I would say there are some of my friends who are also interested in going into academia, because that is what I was thinking during school time. So I still see those people, and then there are different students who join different fields instead of going into STEM. Uh, One more thing I would like to mention is when I joined PSC at my place is considered as a very low degree. It
Hmm.
means like if you don't want to do anything, you just join BSc, or you should actually join BTech if you really want to do something in your life.
I think
So
that's
while
a
I was
general idea all over India, because in my hometown, that was the case as well.
yeah, so this is what people think. So while I was doing BSc, as I mentioned, that it was a big thing to go to Delhi and pursue BSc, because even in my hometown, or even in Bhopal, which is like I live close to Bhopal, so there are different colleges for BSc, and my different friends joined BSc there. Some of the people used to come and ask my father, "Why did you send your daughter so far just to do BSc?"
Yeah.
So that was one thing I experienced, and then now they know that okay, that was the right track. But yeah, they questioned.
Okay.
So
Took
coming back to
it
your
took a little
question.
courage to go on this path, right?
Yeah, I mean, for people, it is like if you don't have to do anything, you will do BSc, and then why will you go so far to do that stupid degree? This is what people feel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, okay, this is what I have to do, and I don't care what people say.
And then eventually your parents could understand that, okay, this is also a good degree to do, right?
Yeah, I feel I'm fortunate that my parents never questioned whatever I did. So they're like, okay, whatever you want to do, you can do that. They are always supportive. So that is one thing which helped me to come up to here.
That's good. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So
when you got your acceptance from for PER from such a good research group. Chandralekha Singh has been the head of AAPT, which is American Association of Physics Teachers. So were you a little intimidated? How will you be able to, work with her, or what was the journey like? How was it when you landed in USA? And meeting the research group for the first time, maybe?
Yeah, so when I landed in USA, I think there were different things which I learned during this 1 year, which was not just about education, but also about survival. So
Yeah.
that was
Correct. Hmm.
So, if I talk about my research group, so as I'm actually working with Dr. Chandrika Singh. So, in USA, first year is all about finishing your coursework before you actually start working in research. So, we are around 20 students in our class. So, those who joined PhD physics with me in the same year, and we are
Just a
actually.
second. So, for the viewers, physics education research is a subcategory of the field of physics. So, it's not in education department, but the physics department. So, yes, you studied with all the people who are going to do core physics in their research. Okay.
Yeah, so when I joined there, it was not necessary to decide your field, but because I already mentioned all those things which made me to think that I want to take this field, so I was already prepared in my mind that okay, this is what I have to join. And also, I knew the faculty who is working in that particular field. Also, in my department, she's the only one who works in physics education research, particularly. So I was sure that as soon as I will start doing the research, I will be working under her.
Mhm.
Apart from that, all those 20 students who have joined, so we all were supposed to finish our coursework in the first year. So this is what I have done so far. So
Okay.
all
So,
the
what
basic courses
courses?
which we
Sorry, what courses did you learn?
Yeah, so we have to study electrodynamics, we have to study quantum mechanics, thermodynamics, classical mechanics. So we already studied those during masters, but there are also some students who join PhD after finishing their bachelors. So it is just to brush up those concepts or like to make the connection.
Yes.
So yeah.
So one more thing. So in India, we think of it as bachelor's, master's, and then PhD. But in US, it's like bachelor's and directly PhD. So in Australia also, it's like bachelor honors, and then PhD, which is honors is a 4 year degree, and then directly you could do PhD. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
The reason why I had to do masters is because BSc honors was a 3 year degree. So
Yeah.
I could join PhD. Even if you do BTech in India and then you think of joining
Yes.
PhD, that is
Then that's fine.
possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so there we worked on those courses in the first year, and then usually all the students are supposed to join all the colloquiums so that we get exposure to all possible fields which are in the department and all different research groups and professors. So first year is all about meeting different people, different research group members, and trying to see what is best for you and are you best for those, like
Yeah.
are you best for the professor, all those things. So this is what we all are supposed to do in the first year. um, as well as after finishing our first year we are the summer. Okay.
Just a second.
So
Hmm.
yeah, so we are supposed to finish all those coursework. So this is what I did. And once we are done with those courseworks, we are allowed to join the research group. So it's mandatory to get passed in all those courses. Otherwise, we just can't be considered
How
as a PhD.
how are the assessments? How are the exams? And how many marks do you need to get pass?
So it's like you should be getting overall 60 percentage, and there are homeworks each week. So I think that's something different from what we have in India. We are given assignments and we are supposed to do those, but here it's very strict that you have to finish all those homeworks each week. And one thing is that we Indians usually have tendency.
Hmm.
I won't
Of
say
doing things
in
at the
general, but
end.
yeah, but
Yeah.
most of us have tendency of doing things by our own and not discussing with others, and like I want to be the best in the class, all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Usually, Indians are trained that way because there
Yeah.
are always competition exams that Indians are preparing for.
Hmm.
So that's a different thing I found here. That was very different there because we were expected to work together,
Yeah.
and it was like have to work together in group to do those homeworks. Otherwise, you can never finish those. So that was one thing I liked. It was very interesting, and it gives you a way of learning together, of working
Yes.
together, the
Yes.
groups.
Collaboration is really important in research field. So yeah,
Yeah,
learning that for the first time, that everything is not to be um, a competition but a collaboration. Yeah.
yeah. Also, another interesting thing that I found was we also have TA-ship in India, so it's the same thing which we are supposed to do there. And then there are some resource rooms where grad students are supposed to sit in that room, and undergrad students will just come with
Hmm.
their doubts and they will discuss with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was the thing which I found there, and it was really nice because it gives. I'm sorry.
So it's like not everything is to be taught by the professor, but there are the tutors who are current PhD students, and undergrad students can go to them and learn. I mean, solve their doubts or things like that, and the
Yeah.
PhD students get paid for that. So it's not a free service.
Yeah, so mostly sometimes students are afraid of asking doubts with the professor,
Yeah,
but the best thing is that you can just go to the grad students, and you know that it was like a grad student will be sitting in a classroom, finishing the class and going to teach. So it's very easy to understand how students are going through that
yeah, yeah.
process of learning, and it's highly relatable, so that's a good thing. So yeah, that was a different thing which I found in
You
US.
observed very similar things that I observed as well. So yeah, I can relate to that. Okay. And then how was it like maybe being in a few meetings with your research group? Did you could you see that it is actually PER is actually the field that you'll be interested to work in the next coming years?
So I mostly spent like I had some of the meetings with the supervisor which I will be working with. So I usually read all those research papers which like which all the students under her have worked on. So that was one thing, and I was reading papers related to quantum physics and different methods which have been developed to learn it. So I was finding it interesting, and I'm also looking for something which I'm interested in, and like what I can choose as my own topic to work on.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your what your research group is currently working on? Like few broad ideas of what is it like to be doing a research in PER field, as in physics education, and what are your broad in things that you are interested in to possibly work in them?
So as I can see, like some of my group members who are doing currently doing PER research, they are working. So one of them is working on women, like how do uh, women experience belongingness in the physics classroom. So that is one thing she's working on.
Hmm.
There are different people who are also working on like how, so there are quantum tutorials, so how students respond to different tutorials if the grading method is changed, so
Okay.
how that makes a difference in the learning of learning methodology and all those things.
Hmm.
So that is also one thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
assessments, how you are assessed determines how you will learn, right? So if you are asked about the dates, when did this happen, then you'll focus on learning those facts, I mean remembering those facts. But if you are asked about the concept, how things worked and why someone tried and solved this problem this way, then I think the whole process changes for the students.
Yeah, also like if there is a classroom, what if the flipped classroom method is used? So how do the response of the students in learning is changed? So instead of professor teaching to the students, if students are uh, given some videos and they are supposed to read and come back and then do some group activities or discuss in the classroom, how does it change the learning of the students? Is there a difference in the way the students were studying conventionally and the way they study in this different method? So
Yeah.
that is also one thing that is analyzed, how it makes the difference.
So changing the agency, like not only it's not like one way traffic, but a two-way thing, collaborative work between a teacher and a student. Yeah, those
Yeah.
seem to be really interesting topics. And where does your interest lie? What is, something that you would like to do for, let's say, 3 years?
So I also see that there are like one thing is that if there are different teaching aids which are used in the class, that can also make class interesting sometimes.
Yeah,
So instead of going to the conventional method of teaching, if there are different teaching aids which are used in the class, as we can see, this thing is already happening. Like there are some faculties and professors who try to make it interesting by introducing different experiments in the classroom and all those things. So I'm interested in knowing how we can make it, like how we can introduce more teaching ads and different uh, things in the curriculum so that students get more interested in learning instead of just going through the conventional method of reading and learning.
that's interesting. So you can look up my research as well. You'll find few elements that you could add to make your class interesting. uh,
Yeah, I will definitely.
a short and sweet statement or inspirational thing that you would like to tell the young students that might um, grab them in your field about, should they
So I read.
develop a similar journey as yours? Why should they build a career in STEM? And what are the rewards of that?
Yeah, so we need to keep one thing in mind that it sometimes this journey could be tough. So even when I was thinking to join PhD, my professor asked me like think 100 times before jumping into this well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
I would suggest that one thing is that join if you are highly interested into that, and another thing is to develop the interest. So uh, that is something which we can do.
Mm.
So science is actually an interesting field. So there is a lot to know about. So if instead of just thinking about working, like it's important to earn money, but it is also important
Yeah.
to have satisfaction with what you do. So yeah,
And
uh,
you could earn money in this field also.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, you need patience, and this is what it teaches. So you need to have patience. There will be ups and downs. Sometimes it is tough, sometimes it is hard, but you know that you will do it. You will be able to go through everything and you will be able to get through it. This is what I have learned through physics.
Yeah. And you can get additional joys that physics has to offer. So,
Yeah, so there are
STEM is not
specific
all about physics.
ways.
We need to give a little credit to chemistry also. So go to chemistry if you like it. But okay. I think this was a really fun segment, and I think students will know a lot about different kinds of universities in India and different kinds of structures and how they could design their career if they want to go into academia or have a little experience of research before they join any industry. So I think it was wonderful talking to you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. See.